Hey there, welcome back to Breakthrough, a Dale Carnegie podcast. My name is Faith Wright, and I'm without my co-host, Neville DeLucia, today. But we are so excited to have Lindsay Reeth on the podcast today. Lindsay, I felt like we just clicked whenever we initially met, and we got to
Yes.
talking about all of our passions. And I love what you're up to with your husband. Actually, it's so cool that you guys do this together. You
Yes.
co-founded Student Made. And for those listening, Lindsay is a graduate of Elon University, and she got her bachelor's in human services from there. She saw a need while she was in college and was on a journey to solve this problem. She and her husband, with the co-founding Student Made store, it's actually a comprehensive program that provides an effective and entirely student-run platform for students, student creators, to reach supporters on their campuses and grow a network of campuses. So that is an overview of what Student Made is. We're going to dive more into that today on the podcast. And so thanks for being here, Lindsay. We really appreciate having
Thank
you
you for
on.
having me. I'm excited.
Yeah. And would you just share a little bit background of how Student Made came to be while you were sitting in your dorm room?
Yes, absolutely. So the entire inspiration for Student Made came about very organically. Um, During my time on my college campus, I just started meeting students who would casually mention that they had a business that they were running in their dorm room. And I would stop them and be like, that is so cool. Do other people know about this? Do you tell other people? And the common theme was that no one on campus knew that they were running this business. They were not involved in the business school or their entrepreneurship center, so they weren't getting resources to help them promote their business. And they were selling to people all across the country through other platforms, but no customer base on campus. And immediately I was like, that makes no sense, because I would love to support this business. And I know that professors, faculty, staff, parents, alumni, if we could get to that point, would love to, one, learn about these businesses and the journeys that students are on to grow these businesses, and want to support them. So that's kind of how the idea of Student Made came to be, providing a platform for student creators, artists, business owners to feature and sell their products to their campus community.
What was the initial reaction whenever you were developing this community and platform? Like, was there pushback from the school? Was there
Ooh.
like a support from students, like even more than you thought? Can you kind of share a little bit about that?
Yeah, that's a great question. There was a little bit of both. Students were so excited. They were just excited about having the opportunity to showcase what they were doing and what they were creating, and having people actually buy things was just a benefit. I don't think some of them weren't expecting to sell anything. That actually ended up selling out at our first couple of events, which was amazing. But we did get some pushback because this had never been done before. And specifically on our college, it was a case of Barnes and Noble held rights to any sales that happen on campus.
Oh, okay.
And so I was so nervous. We got all dressed up. We had our whole business plan, went into this scary office of our university and handed our plan. And they were like, this isn't going to work. The only option is you go speak to the Barnes and Noble representative and have them approve it. But from us, it's a no.
Wow.
And again, this was just an idea, and we were just trying to see if it would work. And so the first reaction was, no, this can't work. And so we went to meet with the Barnes and Noble representative. She was an art major in college, and she said that if this would have been available at her school, it would have been so helpful to her. So she
Yes.
said, absolutely. So we got the go ahead. So it was kind of a little bit up and down, but then once we started Student Made, the response from the campus community was incredible. They were so excited. We got incredible turnouts. The students loved it, and people wanted to see it more.
So cool. I mean, that must have been scary though, initially, like you setting the scene there, thinking about walking into this like scary conference room, right? Having
Yeah.
a meeting with people that are higher up in the college and just sharing
Yes.
your idea. First off, having the boldness and courage to do that in the first place. And then to continue after the rejection of them saying, oh, this isn't going to work. You're going to have to talk to somebody else.
Yes. Oh gosh,
And
yes.
for you to continue and talk to Barnes& and Noble after them saying no and rejecting you. And
Yes.
it's just it had to be so encouraging to hear Barnes& and Noble say, you know, and it was awesome that that woman could relate, like, as an art major in college.
Yes.
Like, how
Yes.
amazing is that too? So I mean, things just come full circle, and here you guys are,
Yeah.
and it's launched. Like, tell us where you're at today, like the growth that has occurred over the past couple years, and where you're projecting also into the future.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. So totally different from when we started on our campus. We were basically holding pop-up shops regularly on campus, which was great. But then eventually it was time to graduate and we wouldn't physically be on our college campus. And so we kind of just thought about where we might take it next, what we might do. And during that time, we were actually living in Boone, North Carolina.
Mhm.
I'm sure a lot of people know of it because Appalachian State is there, which is
Yes.
an awesome university. And we actually started meeting students on that campus doing the same thing as Elon. And so that's when we got this idea of building a network of campuses and connecting the students across these campuses as well.
Yeah.
And at that same time, we decided to make it an online platform that was custom to that college campus. Because what was very evident to us is that App State felt completely different than Elon. And
Mm.
we felt that their online marketplace and their branding should feel different as well. And so that's how we kind of developed the idea to make a custom online marketplace that's branded to your college campus.
Amazing. Amazing. So where do you project going in the future? I mean, first of all, like the network can grow and expand,
Mhm.
right? So
Absolutely.
yeah, so how far have you come so far? Where do you project you'll be in, let's say, another year or two?
That's a great question. Right now we're operating at 11 colleges and universities, which is really exciting. Our team's goal is to launch 5 new campuses a semester, so 10 campuses a year. So we're really looking forward to that 30 number is kind of our first goal.
Okay.
And then our ultimate would be above the hundreds. There's so many
Yeah.
colleges and universities, and we're constantly learning about more schools that are doing innovative things that we want to collaborate with them.
Yeah.
Um, so the sky's really the limit in terms of where we can go. We've actually had interest come in from high schools recently. So
Oh,
that's a whole
cool.
nother customer base that we weren't even picturing working with.
Yeah.
Um, but it just goes to show that the sky is truly the limit for what we can do.
Yeah. I think I've heard a lot with COVID happening and the up increase of Gen Z becoming
Yes.
entrepreneurial. Like high school and college students today are perfect target. It seems like with more
Totally.
innovation, and it just seems like collaboration is at the heart and such a big tool and powerful tool that student made has. And if you think about all the learnings in terms of collaboration
Oh
over
my
the
gosh, yeah.
couple years, you know, what just say I'm gonna put you on the spot. What is like a huge learning in terms
Mm.
of the collaboration space that you've gained since creating Student Made?
So if I can, I might turn this to give examples about our student creators and our
Yeah.
student managers. So you are spot on about COVID kind of sparking a lot of the interest in starting their own
Mhm.
business. We just lucked out that that was the exact time that we started this business, was in the heart of COVID.
Yeah.
And so we saw the trend immediately on campuses all over. But what I think was provided students the opportunity to learn from collaboration was many of them were doing things, like I said, in their dorm room, siloed. not really knowing, not really having support from other people, like not having resources and that kind of support, but also just people knowing what you're doing and knowing that you love it and telling you that you can do it. And so one thing that we learned and the creators learned is just creating a simple, nothing fancy, but a community of people doing similar things, community of students that were supportive of each other and understood what the other person was going through was, I think, tremendously confidence boosting for all the students involved.
Yeah, it
Because
sounds
before it was like, I'm in my dorm room, I don't know if anyone else is doing this.
right.
And they were all that way. And meanwhile, we kind of took, okay, we found 30 students on this campus doing the exact same thing. They don't know about each other, but there's a lot of power in them just coming together and doing the same thing together and boosting each other up.
Oh yeah, I'm sure it produces confidence, productivity. It
Oh,
closes
yes.
the loneliness gap that solopreneurs can face with building something on their own.
Yes,
And just sharing with them like, hey, there's like this other student that is similar or complementary to what you're doing,
exactly.
go share ideas with them and collaborate and get creative
Exactly.
on how maybe
And
they could even partner together. I don't know. Has that
yes,
a trend that you're
yeah,
also seeing? Yeah.
yes. So that has happened a lot. We've actually seen businesses start at UNC Chapel Hill, and then they
Mhm.
start a branch by partnering at NC State. And they'll
Cool.
be kind of operating two branches of the same business, which is really exciting to see. But as I was going to say, we saw that community build on one campus, but then we got excited about what if we just keep growing campuses and they have this entire network of student businesses to learn from and engage with. And that's what's happened. And so if there's a photography student that is wondering about how can I turn my photography into a business? We have a chat where it's all photographers where they can say, where do you get your prints from? What are you pricing
Yeah.
your prints at? And they have this whole community to support them and learn from.
Oh, that's incredible. I'm sure there's different phases of this, like as student made grows and you gain different ideas or subsets of the business to try to add more value to the
Hmm.
students, would be really cool.
Yeah,
What was kind of your breakthrough moment?
this is the question of the podcast. Um, so we were operating the online marketplaces, as I mentioned, once we turned them into online shops, we were operating them, me and my co-founder Ryan, completely on our own, doing all the behind the scenes work, all of the marketing, all that stuff. And it was feeling a little unsustainable. Like we didn't know how we would continue doing it. And luckily, we came up with the idea to build these manager teams on each campus that would operate the platform. It's a big part of our program. But our long-term goal was always we will work in partnership with the universities and we will bridge the gap between their resources and the student creators we're working with. We thought at the time, we thought this was years off, 10 years. Like we're not even close. And I think a couple months later, we got an email from a university that said, we love what you're doing. Can we turn it into a unique program for our campus? And that was a breakthrough moment for us because it wasn't in our plan. We didn't think we were ready for it, but we had this opportunity and we knew we had to take it. And it would just leap us forward quicker than we ever thought we could have. And that's exactly what happened.
Yeah, that's something about taking opportunities as they come, even when you're not expecting it, and the ability to be like, okay, this wasn't in the plan, but
Yep.
I'm gonna take it by the reins, right?
Yeah,
I'm
exactly.
I'm curious, how is it being a co-founding couple? Like,
Ooh,
what is like the best benefit and also a challenge of your spouse being your co-founder?
there's so many benefits. We say this at the end of every day, and we're so lucky for this, but it's so much fun. We've always been the type of couple that thinks about ideas and brainstorms together. We joke that our first date was a business meeting. We had a business idea before Student Made that we would just meet every day and talk about, turn to Student Made. It is so much fun. We get a lot of energy from each other. So I think that's different from a lot of couples that work separately. We know what we do all day and kind of we know where we're coming from, and we get a different energy from each other. Um, what can be challenging, but what we've worked a lot at is we have to kind of be three different people to each other. So we have to be coworkers, friends, and then husband and wife. We always say three because friends is important as well. That's how we started. So turning on and off. So sometimes it'll be like a midnight and we should not be talking about work anymore because we're a married couple. And I love to talk about, we both will just bring up work topics. We're like, okay, we got to shut it off. It's really hard to shut it off because it's exciting and it's embedded in our relationship.
I bet so. I bet that can be hard with the boundaries of creating those three. I love how you included friends too. It's like spouses, friends, and co-founders, right?
Yes. Yep.
What would you say
Yes.
is some advice to, you started out in college and the Gen Z is in college right now. What would a piece of advice be that you would give to students today?
Yes. This might not be, I wonder if you've gotten this one before. My advice would be to assume the best in other people. I think along the way, a lot of people, let me start over. A lot of, like, for example, going back to how we started, and the first thing we were told was no. But when they said that we could talk to the woman at Barnes and Noble, we assumed the best. We assumed there's gonna be a reason why she is going to let us do this. We can talk to her, we can connect with her. That's exactly what happened. If we had in that moment assumed the worst, Student Made would have never existed. And so all through our journey, we have come to these forks where it's either we assume the best or we assume the worst, and it's going to go one way or the other. And we have always assumed the best in people. And the amount of support and encouragement we've gotten by doing that and the relationships we've built have brought us to where we are today. I don't think it would be possible without that.
Yeah, assuming the best in people, right? It's like
Yes.
humanity, there can be good in humanity again. And for the ability to have a positive mindset and to think on the bright side and that the glass is half
So
full,
important.
I think is so
Because so many
important.
things are going to go wrong.
Yeah.
But we have kind of trained ourselves and our team. Something going wrong is not bad.
Yeah.
It's an opportunity to do something better.
I love that. An
So
opportunity.
there's no such thing. We say there's no such thing as a bad situation.
Yeah.
It's just we have to think smarter and more creatively about how to make this better.
Oh, that is so good. I'm gonna write that down and quote that. That's amazing. What would you say is some advice that you would give to educators and parents who are working with Gen Z?
Mm. I would say, um, I would say something along the lines of having the faith to give students more responsibility and more, hmm, yeah, I think giving students the opportunity to have more responsibility, that is a fundamental part of our program. It's completely student run, and we don't just do that because it's easy to work with students. We do that because the innovation, the creativity that comes from students and the valuable skills they gain from doing something that's theirs has been tremendous. And so I'd say for parents, if your student is interested, I mean, if your child is interested in doing something or has this passion, let them go for it. See what they can do. Same with professors or educators. Let students own something. I think there's a big difference in a student feeling like they own something rather than they're doing something for someone else. And in a way, it simulates the entrepreneurial mindset and experience. And that's what we do for our student managers. We tell them Student Made is essentially your company on your college campus. We'll give you this structure, but you run with it. And the creativity that comes from that, I think they think differently and they gain confidence in ways that they wouldn't normally through other experiences.
Yeah. Responsibility, it does appear to be like the fundamental aspect of Student Made in how they take it on themselves and it's theirs. You guys provide the structure and then there they go, right?
Yeah.
And they can hold responsibility for it as they're gaining entrepreneurship
Mhm.
experience.
And that is
And
scary.
yeah,
Some universities we speak to are really skeptical. Like,
yeah,
do students really operate this and nothing goes wrong? And things do go wrong, but there's no such thing as it going wrong. But what that student is learning in turn is way more valuable than
mhm,
not giving them the chance to even make a mistake and learn from it.
right. Yeah, you got to give students the ability to fail, right? Or like
Yes,
the open door to excuse me, the open door to maybe have some bumps along the way and for everything
absolutely.
to go smoothly, right?
Yes.
Because that's how you learn. That's
Yes.
that's the best teacher is failing.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep. We believe that.
Yeah, 100%. If people want to connect with you, Lindsay, or check out Student Made, how should they go about doing that?
They can visit our website at www.studentmadestore.com. They can follow our social media, which is always Student Made Store on Instagram, LinkedIn, and Facebook, and TikTok as well. Student Made Store. Yeah.
Okay. And if people want to connect with you on LinkedIn, let's say, is it just Lindsay Reeth?
Yep. Lindsay Reeth. Yes. Yeah.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much, Lindsay, for being a wonderful guest on our podcast today and just sharing with our listeners more about Student Made and your journey to get there. I'll leave the links below about how people can connect with you
Perfect.
and Student Made. If you haven't yet, hit subscribe to this podcast so that every other Wednesday you get a notification when a new episode drops. And we will see you guys on the next episode. Thanks so much. Bye.
Thank you guys. Bye.